drive on the way home of the real Spiel. Shiloh Institute Stand Up. And of course, all of our wonderful sponsors, Dr. David Israel, the Hebrew linguist and mentor, and the Glorious Churches of Canada, Emmanuel Church of God of Jesus Christ, Apostolic. Listen, we're going to have a quick conversation today, and don't forget the Jericho House, about, I want to call it Trump economics, Trumpian economics, and, in something that's completely, literally, out of right field. I'm going to try to speak about some of the actual positives of what President Trump is trying to do as an economist, and try to give us a balanced look at his economic approach to what he's doing. Right. So if you can hang out with me, if economics are your thing, it'll be a great show for you. Economics aren't your thing, you're going to be bored stiff in about 5 minutes. Okay, so just letting you know. Now, with a scenario like this, effectively Donald Trump has adopted more of a late 19th century, early 20th century approach to economics. And this is what he has effectively said. He said that these things like NAFTA and context of free trade don't really bode well for a larger economy, because basically when you have a giant economy like America is, as much as you can keep at home, the better for you, right? And so what America has lost over the course of maybe the last 30, 40 years, maybe 50 years, I don't know, but it's been de-escalating, is its manufacturing industry. Of course, we've lost it to China and to places that, multinationalist corporations have decided, why do it in America? We can do it anywhere else, and we can do it for cheaper. We can do it and make billions of dollars instead of millions of dollars. We're not going to do it here. And so Donald now has said, okay, what I'm going to do now, because you've made that economic decision for yourselves, I'm going to penalize you. I'm going to penalize you really harshly. And I'm going to make your goods so expensive that the consumer won't want to buy it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to help other people who don't do that. I'm going to give them tax discounts for buying goods here. I'm going to make it really, really beneficial to them to buy goods here, and to do business, rather, not buy goods, but to do business, your manufacturing business here. And let's see how that looks. So basically now, a large manufacturer is going to say, well, I'm an American manufacturer, but I know that I can get these things done cheaper elsewhere. So what I'll do is I'm going to outsource, right? The outsourcing concept. I'm going to outsource some of my manufacturing abroad, the labor-intensive things, where the labor is cheaper. I'm going to outsource it over there, and I'm going to save. And so Trump is saying, well, okay, well, if you outsource it over there, when you try to bring it back, I'm going to tax the consumer so that this savings is not a savings to the consumer. It's not a savings to the middleman who's buying it back, and it's not going to be a savings to the consumer, because you're going to pass that expense on to the consumer. So instead of doing that, I'm going to give you incentives to stay here, and I'm going to make your product cheaper for the consumer by you staying here. It's cheaper for your middleman for you staying here. And this is what else I'm going to do, while I'm forcing you, of course, by penalty of taxation, to stay here, and the manufacturing industry comes back. So I'm going to say, hey, you know what? You want to utilize this lot of land? No problem. I'm going to give it to you for 50 years, tax-free. I'm going to give you incentives. I'm going to make sure that you don't have to pay bylaw fees and all these other things, because what that does, bringing all these factories back, it now puts employment back on the table for the American middle class, and not employment that's Mexico, not low-end employment. These are all corporations that have labor unions in place, and so this is union jobs that are coming back, not just once the factory is built, but building out the factory, everything from ground up. He's increasing the workforce in America. If the taxes are serious enough, if they're serious enough, and the people are like, well, screw it, we'll just still pay the tax, because even with the tax, it's cheaper. He's got to make it so grievous to them that they say, fine, we'll just do it in America, because this guy is not going to allow our biggest buyer to still buy our product, because Americans are still going to buy these big ticket products, but they're going to be buying them at a much bigger cost. And that's the middle class, that's the working poor, and that's the upper middle. They're all going to be spending a lot more money. And what happens when they have to spend a lot more money on products that are more expensive? They're going to choose not to. Simple. So this mindset that he's adopting isn't crazy for the working class American. It's not crazy, because the working class Americans now say, well, Donald Trump now, he's quadrupled my opportunity to work for a major multinational corporation with union pay. He's made sure that I effectively can afford some of these vehicles that are going to be produced as these next generation of cars, whether they be electric, hybrids, or oil, gas combustible engines. He's actually really putting Americans back to work, if we really look at it that way. He's not giving foreigners a break whatsoever, unless they're coming to do it in America, right? So he's really returning to this, I don't know, to this, like I said before, 19th century, but early 20th century, kind of like the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, when these big factories, those types of jobs were in America. People could buy a house, so the question is, is it going to be enough to change the macro American economy, or is it just going to affect a few industries? This is the second key of it. You can't just do it in a few industries. You got to board. You got to slap tariffs on everything, like anything. Keep everybody in America, or say, I don't have to be in America. I can sell my product somewhere else. And that's saying I don't really require the 400 million people with one of the strongest dollars in the world to want to buy my products. Right? That's a pretty big gamble to do that, but you have to effectively say, I don't care if Americans buy it. I'm not interested in them buying it. I'm interested in other people buying it. Now, let's see what happens when you do that. The Chinese aren't going to just start buying expensive foreign products. The Germans, they might, if it's really, really good, but they've got some of their nicest types of cars themselves. Their Audis and Volkswagens, and Mercedes-Benz, and all these other things, all these German BMWs, these wonderful German created cars. Are they going to say, no, I don't want those anymore. I want American muscle cars. I want Chevys and Fords and and all these other vehicles. This is the hard part. You're going to have to make a decision as a manufacturer and start to forecast, well, how is this going to affect us in the long run? And in the long run, staying in the viewpoint of the consumer, of a consumering community, is better. Because you're going to say, listen, well, what happens after 5 or 6 years when people stop seeing our cars and stop seeing our commercials? We're going to become a thing of the past. And so to me, Donald's making a pretty good gamble here. It's a pretty smart gamble. I'm not gonna knock him. He's making a pretty smart gamble. If in 4 years he can tax people so much, corporations rather, so much that they don't want to do business outside of America because it's just too expensive, affecting their bottom line and affecting their future marketing potential, right? I mean, listen, marketing is a muscle car driving by a high school. It is. Kids look at that and say, wow, one day I'm going to get one of those. Marketing is, a luxury car driving by a low-income neighborhood. You say, hey, man, that's status right there. I want one of those. And so, once you eliminate that, what's going to be the futuristic reality of your bottom line when you're just taking your product out of a particular market, saying we choose not to deal in your market? That's going to be huge. You see here, Zenobia, what's going on? Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. How are you? So we're having a conversation about economics right now. Trumpian economics, contrary to a lot of things that we want to say about Donald, isn't stupid. It's not stupid at all. Moving into combining economics with immigration. To do this kind of stuff too, to really make things tight, you want to control ports. You want to control places of entry and say, we want to annex any ports, any places of entry. When you come into this particular port, you've effectively come into America. And so some of the intentionality he has overseas is to make sure that anytime a port is accessed, everything on this boat, everything on this ship is taxed because you're effectively coming into America, right? So that's big. That again forces people to say, we manufacture in America, we're exempt. And people are I keep saying people, corporations are going to want exempt status. Annexing Canada, right? Saying, hey, listen, you guys might as well play ball with us. We might as well just extend our GDP, extend our bottom line, extend our tax base, become one of us. What are you doing by yourself there anyway? Why are we giving you advantages to remain a sovereign country? If you want to be sovereign, be sovereign. But if you want our assistance economically, militarily, technologically, become one of us. We're tired of supporting you, right? We're tired of being your big brother when you clearly need us to be your parent. So these are interesting concepts. Zenobia. Finishing my last week of school. Oh, congratulations. I'm a studious teacher. Amen. For you. Teach, my sister. Teach and learn, my sister. Teach and learn. Listen, when you really start sitting down and realizing that this Trump administration they're working with a lot more than the last administration was working with. They have a lot of things that they have literally thought out a lot further, and they shouldn't necessarily be taken for granted. But the problem again is it's like a race car driver. When you drive a race car, I don't know how many people have ever driven a car very, very quickly. You have something that's called eye lead. Eye lead is, you can't look at the stripes on the line in front of you. You've got to look 200 meters up the road. You've got to look around the bend of the curve, or else you won't make the curve. The problem with eye lead is that because you're looking so far ahead, you're not seeing the potential things in the road right in front of you. You're not seeing a tire rolling into the road, somebody's muffler fell off, And you're going to run over that because your eye lead is way in front. You're not focusing on what's in front of you. This is the problem potentially with Trump's economy. Is there's a lot of forward thinking, but are they thinking of what's in front of them? You know, how is this stuff going to affect what's in front of them? So they decided we're not going to focus on that. We're going to give that to Elon Musk. And oh shoot, I lead. See, I always miss my exit because I drive like that. I drive like a cop. I lead. My exit is right here. So they gave those things to Elon Musk. Not turning around. And they said, Musk, you figure it out. You figure out all these little things, all these little bumps in the road. You deal with that, right? We're going to be looking forward. And Musk is doing both. Really, I really haven't figured it out yet. What is the purpose of Doge for him? Like, what's his buy-in to that? Right. The only thing I can think about is what is he trying to replace with automation? That's the only thing I can think about. This guy effectively trying to replace employees with robots. And his entire robotic automated plant, is he trying to effectively utilize some type of mentality saying, hey, I can retrofit all this. If I understand it, if I look at it, if I see what's going on, I potentially can replace a lot of bureaucracy with robots, right? Now, think about this. And that's why Trump said, listen, I can fire all of you guys. I don't need any of you guys, because he was optimistic. But let me explain something to you. Robots replacing bureaucrats is actually great. Robots replacing the middle class is terrifying, right? Because the workforce is dependent on these jobs in order to feed themselves, unless they're trying to turn the entire nation into communists. And that's one thing we're pretty sure Americans aren't interested in. But bureaucracy being replaced with robots is great, because the person at the top programs what he wants. Doesn't have to worry about decision makers under him that are problematic. So eliminating a Department of Education, you know, and you eliminate a bureaucrat that's in charge of education that can rock the boat. You eliminate anything that effectively can make a decision against you, and you replace it with a robot. What's a better minister of education than an AI? You know, it knows everything. It knows it can, and if it doesn't know it, it can pull from it. So Trump's saying it's duplicitous. We don't need it at the federal level. But what he's effectively saying is, I can replace that with something else. I don't need that there. Again, Donald has had some time to sit around and to actually brainstorm some things and put some smarter people around him. I really believe that the people around him now are way smarter than the people who were around him before. And he might have something there with the economic stuff. He actually might have something that might change the world a little bit. But this is the problem in the meantime. In the meantime, his press is so bad that he's scaring the market. The market is not interested in all of the things that he's doing, especially the Elon Musk part of it. The tariffs are freaking people out because they don't know how the world is going to respond to tariffs. I can go this way. And so it's affecting the market in a way where the market now is not exactly sure of the economic ripple effect, the butterfly effect of his tariffs. The market is not sure if that will cause people to not buy. If he's not sure if it will cause people or corporations to change their direction and start investing in other locations. So it's got the market queasy, even if the economics are good. Because what was good about Donald Trump 1 is he was predictable. Donald Trump 2.0 is not predictable as far as how the markets look. It's not predictable at all. So when you're dealing with economics, you want predictability, supply and demand. It's very predictable. You lower the supply, the demand goes up. You heighten the supply, the demand goes down. Prices fluctuate accordingly, right? So, but what Donald is doing is he's touching so many areas so quickly. I mean, the guy's only been in office for less than 50 days. The market doesn't know how to adjust to him. And that could almost make something that's ingenious look crazy. Look bananas. They are penalizing Elon. Elon is definitely being penalized. And Elon's position is too conspicuous, putting him clearly at the front of some type of radical new age change that we don't know about right now, that he's collecting data on and he's taking a look at. But there is some change coming. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to put that out there, that the economics of what Trump is doing is not crazy. It's not actually crazy. It's actually intriguing. It's interesting to see, because what could happen in the long run is that the economics could have been right and the market tanks anyway. And at the end of the adjustment period, when people realize, oh, we're okay, we're still afloat, okay, we can go back to doing what we're doing, Trump will be long gone. And he'll actually never get the credit for starting this pendulum switch, which is major. Like, we have a major switch from NAFTA, from free trade, to protectionist economy, from the threat of military incursion, and it's affecting other countries, I think, in good ways. For example, Canada's going to do some very major things in the next little while that are going to be good for people who want to buy stock. Canada's going to invest in military, and they're going to invest billions of dollars, because these things are expensive. And they're going to figure out where they're going to buy from. The corporations that Canada starts to buy from, which probably will not be military, America might be, those stocks are going to go up, because they're going to have a buyer who's going to need to buy for at least the next 4 years. You're going to have to outfit soldiers. You're going to have to, deal with your armies, deal with your navies, deal with your air forces, deal with your Marines, buy into new technology, training, all these types of things. That Canada is a G7 nation. If Canada literally decides, because of the Donald Trump effect, to say, you know what, Trump's right, we need a robust military too. We have the Arctic to deal with. We have the Northwest Territories. We have this American border that they're threatening us that they might decide to, take Canada. We can't, turn a blind eye to that threat, that innuendo. We can't do it. The Walmart in my hometown is getting rid of all these self-checkouts because they said they lost over $1 million in theft last year. So yeah, because self-checkouts, people just walk out with it, right? And so they thought, oh, okay, this is going to stop them it's going to stop us from having to spend all this money on labor. They said, oh, no, people are just going to pick up the stuff and leave and go their way. And that 1, 2, and it's very easy to do it because you can scan every other item, then put it in the bag. You're leaving with a bag of stuff. You got a receipt, but half of it was stolen, right? It's very easy to do that, right? So technology has to have checks and balances, and it doesn't always. What seems like a good idea does not always work out that way. Anyway, I was saying before, a threat to me of national security one time requires a permanent solution for all time. The threat of national security one time requires a permanent solution for all time. Once you have an American president, unprecedented, speaking things that sound aggressive towards your nation, telling you that, become one with us or else. That's a pivot. That's a pivot. And that should affect you. Like you have a friend for years, you live in a rough neighborhood, and but together you guys kept each other safe, and then they realized, they say, hey, you're not really keeping me safe, bro. I'm keeping you safe. And you know what? You're gonna have to pay me some kind of protection fee. What? Yeah, bro. Pay me protection. I'm keeping you safe. You're not really keeping me safe, but we've been rolling together to everything, every major situation. When I'm there, you're there. He goes, yeah, but you're not me. And people aren't really afraid of you. People are afraid of me. So Canada's gonna say, well, you know what? I better get a little bigger, a little tougher. I gotta let people be afraid of me too. I gotta make you afraid of me, because if Russia and the Ukraine can have a war, those people are related. America and Canada can have one too. Had one already, right? And I just don't think it's wise to sit around and say, oh, they're not going to do that. I don't know. I don't think like that. Clearly, these folks in Canada are thinking like that. But I just wanted to wake us up to the fact that Trumpian economics is not crazy. There are some merits to it. There are some downfalls to it. How it's going to affect the stock market is the biggest one, because we've already seen that happen. And what the heck is really the agenda of our good friend Elon Musk with Trump's economics? What is he doing? We don't know. This is Del K. Branton, baby. This is the real spiel. I hope everybody's good. I'm gonna catch you guys tomorrow. And love, peace, and hair grease. We'll talk to you guys very soon.